Good evening all, and welcome to Economic Observations. My name is Chris. Today is the 26th of April, and thank you so much for watching. This video is sponsored by the Tanzania School Foundation, an organization doing great work in Tanzania trying to eradicate poverty through education. There are links in the description below, and any donation made to the Tanzania School Foundation, in my eyes, supports this channel. Let's get started. Dow Jones was down over 800 points today. Tesla lost $120 billion today. And he acquired Twitter yesterday for $44 billion. And he is collateralizing some of his shares of Tesla, putting them on margin or potentially even selling them to purchase Twitter. You know, to give you some perspective, if you worked 365 days a year for 100 years straight and got paid $100,000 a day and saved every penny, you'd have less than 10% of what it took to buy Twitter. That is insane. Well, Elon Musk's net worth has tumbled. Tesla shares sunk today. They wiped out over $120 billion in value as Musk scores the Twitter deal. Now, was it worth it? And that's something he has to wrap his head around, because Twitter, from all the social media platforms, was at the bottom. It doesn't get a lot of revenue, and it's a dying platform in a lot of people's eyes. I mean, people have accounts, but they don't use them. I use it sparingly. But, you know, if the Twitter takeover is good for Elon Musk, it hasn't been so good for Tesla. One day after Twitter announced that it accepted the $44 billion takeover bid, Tesla shares sunk 12.2% today. But maybe all of it didn't have to do with Tesla. You know, Chevy introduced this Chevy Spark car. It was a little car. It was an all-electric car. In 2013, it went for about $15,000 to $20,000. It made those cars from 2013 to 2017. They weren't really long-distance cars, but if you had a short commute and you can go back and forth, it saved you money on gas, and they were fairly reliable. But Chevy announced today that they are no longer supporting the batteries. So if you need new batteries for your Chevy Spark, well, you can't get them anymore. You're going to have a dead car in your driveway. So maybe the Tesla shares, even though you can buy new batteries for your Tesla cars, even from cars 10 years ago for a whopping $17,000, maybe this is the future of electric vehicles, and maybe this will prevent others from actually buying them. I mean, imagine spending $15,000, $20,000 just 5 years ago on a car. And one thing is for certain with electric vehicles: your batteries are going to die. And Chevy is no longer going to supply batteries or owners of these cars. So maybe that has affected the electric car maker. Maybe it wasn't all this Twitter deal, because there's a lot of stuff going on out there that it's just so hard to catch up on all of it. Yesterday I talked about some of these tech companies, the devaluation of them, and it's going to lead to layoffs. Well, Robinhood today announced 9% of their 3,800 staff, full-time employees, are going to lose their jobs. Last year they really staffed up. People were working from home, and they tried to meet the demand, which has lagged over the past 12 months. Don't be surprised when this happens to a lot of the cryptocurrency platforms as well. I can see Coinbase doing the same thing. Like we said yesterday, DoorDash, and we know that many biotech firms, biopharmaceutical firms in the Boston area are barely scraping by and don't have cash. So those two have announced layoffs, and a lot of those smaller companies, well, they're just either going to be eaten up by larger ones, or they're just going to close their doors. Now, Robinhood's announcement is just one of many, but there are going to be thousands more announcements like that. And I know that people think that the job market is really solid because that's what we're fed in the news. But it's not. And all those remote jobs where people don't want to go back into the office, well, they're probably going to be in jeopardy. I know people don't want to go into the office. I wouldn't really want to go into the office every day of the week. But I do believe going into the office 3 days a week is healthy for everybody. I am a people person. I love to interact with people. I love to learn from people. I love to share my knowledge with people. And I love to collaborate and be part of something bigger. That is hard with YouTube because you're isolated and you're by yourself, and I don't get to see many of you, and I wish I did. But it's just the way of the world, and it's something I'm trying to get used to. But I am out there on the weekends selling my art or volunteering for the Tanzania School Foundation at Gillette Stadium, which I was there on Saturday for a Supercross event. Yes, it was a stupid event, but I was running a small ice cream stand with 2 other volunteers, and it was a little crazy. And what I learned, Gillette Stadium is a cashless stadium, and I think many stadiums across the whole country now are cashless. But you need to have a credit card or a debit card to purchase even a bottle of water. And we had a line for 4 hours for ice cream, waters, Gatorade, sodas of 80 people deep. And some people came with their $20 bills, which we had to say, sorry, it's credit card only. When they went to put their credit card in for a $6 purchase, it was declined because they had no credit. It didn't happen once or twice. It happened about 8 times. What are these people doing at a Supercross event where the tickets, I don't know, cost $80 or cost $40 to park, and you can't afford to buy a bottle of water, which, by the way, were $5. Anyway, that is the state of a lot of people, and we don't see that, right? We don't know what people are going through, but people are going through things already, and nothing is 100% rosy. On Sunday, I was in Cambridge at an arts market, and last year, we knocked it out of the park. And this year, well, we're not knocking it out of the park. I mean, we're not losing money, but we're spending a lot of time and a lot of effort to not sell as much as we had last year. So that is a sign of the times. Come May, we move outside. We're under a 10 by 10 tent. We're engaging with people, trying to spread the good word of our work. We're trying to recruit volunteers for this kind of nifty 14-day volunteer adventure safari on Mount Kilimanjaro. We are working hard, but we're noticing that some people don't have as much money as they had last year. People were still getting unemployment, there was still PPP, and there was still some of the SBA loans, and there was the restaurant revitalization, and the stock market hadn't crashed because interest rates were still really low. This is the beginning, folks. Robinhood says 9%, more are going to follow. Today also, YouTube ad revenue did not meet expectations. So what does meet expectations mean? It means that Wall Street kind of assumed that it was going to have a 25% growth. It only came in at 16.5%. So, oh my God, YouTube is flailing, right? And every YouTuber out there has seen a decline in viewership. People are out and about now. People aren't at home as much. And revenue has gone down for every YouTuber out there. I am sure of it. But it didn't lose money, and it didn't lose ad revenue. It just didn't meet Wall Street's expectations. So Alphabet stock is crashing, and they are committed to buying back billions of dollars of shares now that the stock price is low. Facebook too did not meet expectations, and this is a trend that is going to continue. Like it or not, we are in a slump right now, and I don't know how we're going to get out of it when Jerome Powell wants to raise that lovely Fed interest rate at 0.5%. Hang on tight, folks. We got a lot going on. We still have this war going on. The problem with food is going to be huge. That is a topic for another day. I am very concerned about my friends and colleagues in Tanzania. I am concerned for our students' families. They spend 80% of their income, their very small income, on food prior to the prices going up. They don't have cars. Many of them don't have electricity. They don't even have water. They pay $10 a month to rent a little hut, and they spend all of their money on food. And now that the price of food has gone exponentially high, I don't know what they're going to do. And there's going to be a problem with cooking oil, palm oil in Indonesia. Indonesia is not exporting palm oil. That is another topic for another day. Folks, there is so much going on in the world, and even if our lives are fine in the United States right now, because many of us can afford the increases, we ain't seen anything yet. And we have to have empathy for the rest of the world, because there are people out there that are seriously going to be in trouble. And that worries me. All right, thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate you. Be kind. Call someone. Tell them you love them. We will talk again real soon. Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great night. And thanks for watching. Hey, and don't forget, like or subscribe to this channel.